Live from WRAL News headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
It is a cold day out there. Arctic air is in place and it sticks around for quite some time. Plus, some of you could see some flurries tonight. I'll show you who coming up.
You could call it an early Christmas gift. Regulators approved a request that will reduce some Duke Energy bills. How much some customers can expect to save.
State GOP lawmakers are expected to flex their political muscle again today, and that could mean no additional aid for Western North Carolina. A live report is just minutes away.
The sunshine out there won't do much to warm us up. We are in for a chilly afternoon and an even colder night tonight. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Chris Levingood in for Jeff Hogan. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got meteorologist Amy Wilmoth. She is here in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Just tell us how cold it's going to be and even flurries, really?
I know, but most of you won't even see them. It happens overnight tonight, and not everybody sees the flurries, but I'll show you who in just a moment. This is a live look at downtown Raleigh. Notice the flag blowing in the breeze. We have a west wind at 9 miles per hour. The temperature is 43, and that's our forecast high for the day. I don't think we go up much more than that. The wind chill, what it feels like when you factor in that wind, it feels like 38 in Raleigh. But look at the wind chill in Roxborough, 29 right now. So it's cold everywhere, and it's going to stay cold all day. And then overnight tonight, it is going to be bitterly cold. But high temperatures in the low to mid 40s this afternoon. A little bit of a breeze will make it feel like 30s for most of the day. This evening, if you're headed out and about, maybe picking out a Christmas tree or trying to hang some holiday lights, it is cold. Bundle up. We'll be in the low 30s by 7 p.m. We'll be in the 20s by 10 p.m. And everybody gets down into the 20s tonight. 20 in Roxborough, 23 in Durham, 25 in Raleigh, 27 in Fayetteville. So with cold air in place and a weak disturbance that's going to swing through, we could see a few flurries overnight tonight. This is the disturbance that we're tracking. It's going to dive down to the south and east. Now, most of you, as I mentioned, aren't going to see anything. It's going to be after midnight tonight until around 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. So it happens while most of us are sleeping. But this is the area that we could see some flurries. It's our western and southwestern counties. I'll walk you through this with Futurecast hour by hour coming up in just a little bit.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, it's chilly out there, and Oberlin Middle School has no heat in their building, which is why they are dismissing at 11:45 this morning. They have this bulletin on their website saying, due to our heat not working at full capacity and low temperatures expected for today, we will be dismissing students early at 11:45 a.m. They will be provided lunch, and school buses will provide transportation home for students. Staff will remain on campus until all students are picked up. Also, all after-school activities are also canceled. It's too cold not to have heat. Well, here's a story that's sure to be music to your ears and easy on the wallet. Duke Energy Progress is lowering customer rates, and that means a lower bill. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey joins us live from Duke Energy headquarters. Kelsey, when can people expect to see a change in their bill?
Yes, Renee. So folks can expect to see a cheaper bill for next month. Duke Energy Progress decided to drop their rates as of December 1st. So here's how that could impact what you pay every month. So if you live in Raleigh, your rates are dropping by 4.5%. Duke Energy Progress estimates that the average customer's monthly bill will be about $7 cheaper. The utility says they're lowering rates because of a drop in fuel costs. We spoke with customers about how they feel about the rate drop.
It'll definitely be good because you're definitely spending more money on other things during the holidays. So to save a little bit somewhere is always a good thing.
Now, if you live in Durham or Chapel Hill, you can expect to see some savings at the start of next year. Your rate should drop by about 3.6% on January 1st. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
North Carolina lawmakers are back at the legislative building this afternoon to take a veto override vote. A couple of other things have been added to the agenda for today to include constitutional amendments. WRAL Capitol Bureau Chief Laura Leslie is live at the legislative building with how this all would work. So explain for us, Laura.
Chris, you know, the purpose of today's session, at least initially, was to come back for an override vote on the veto of that bill that would shift power away from incoming Democratic officials. However, Republican leaders apparently decided to add some more hot button issues to today's agenda as well while they're here. And none of these proposals were really on anybody's radar before today, including a resolution to add North Carolina to a list of states calling for a federal constitutional convention, also known as an Article 5 convention. The purpose would be to come up with a constitutional amendment to impose term limits, on the U.S. House and Senate. That would require 34 states to make a similar call, and more than 24 have already passed some version of this. Republican Senator Ralph Hise supports the bill. He doesn't think a convention would ever really happen, but he says the idea could scare Congress into taking action on its own.
When it really comes to things like limiting Congress itself, that most people agree with and is very popular, you can't wait on Congress to regulate itself. It'll never happen.
Given the results of the election in November at the national level, I'm concerned about all sorts of ways that our democracy and traditional democratic principles and institutions might be undermined by such a convention.
Now, that's Democratic Senator Julie Mayfield. She and other critics of the idea say once such a constitutional convention is called, the states couldn't really limit what parts of the Constitution delegates could propose to make changes to or just go ahead and make those changes. The Senate will also take up a constitutional amendment this afternoon to cap the state's income tax rate at no higher than 5%, and another that would add voter ID for absentee ballots to the state constitution. That's already required by state law. Both those amendments would be on the ballot in November of 2026. Laura Leslie, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Raleigh's next mayor will take the oath of office today. Mayor-elect Janet Cowell will succeed Mayor Mary Ann Baldwin. Cowell's swearing-in ceremony is happening at Mandy Concert Hall tonight. That is at 5. She's a former state treasurer and defeated 4 other candidates to become Raleigh's 63rd mayor.
President Biden pardoned his son Hunter ahead of sentencing later this month over a pair of gun and tax convictions. His decision came days after special counsel Jack Smith moved to dismiss the federal cases against Donald Trump on the grounds that presidents can't be prosecuted. Until yesterday, Biden had not intervened in the cases involving Hunter. The grant of clemency goes against the statement Biden made repeatedly before that he would not pardon his son.
And President-elect Trump called Biden's action, quote, an abuse and miscarriage of justice. Trump was criticized before because of pardons he granted to multiple political aides and contacts during his first term. That includes Jared Kushner's father, Charles, who is now Trump's pick for ambassador to France. Meanwhile, Trump says that he plans to nominate Kash Patel as the next FBI director. Patel has vowed to go after anyone, including the press, who speaks against him. Trump, that should say. Patel would replace Christopher Wray, who Trump appointed in 2017. Wray's term expires in 3 years, so he must either wait to be fired or resign.
The number of undocumented migrants crossing the southern border fell in November, continuing a downward trend. The U.S. Border Patrol arrested around 47,000 migrants along the U.S.-Mexico border last month. That is down from the more than 56,000 migrants who were arrested in October. Homeland Security officials have credited the Biden administration's executive action on immigration for the decline over recent months. And back here in the WRAL Live Center, an upcoming Supreme Court decision could transform transgender health care. On Wednesday, the Supreme Court will hear arguments for the first ever case addressing the constitutionality of bans on medical care for transgender youth. Now, the key legal question the court will consider is whether a Tennessee law that bars puberty blockers, hormone therapy, and surgery for trans minors discriminates on the basis of sex. The Biden administration is supporting the challenge to Tennessee's law, but the federal government's position is expected to change when Trump takes office. The Supreme Court is expected to decide this case by next summer.
A family is whole again in Raleigh after a civil war in Sudan threatened to keep them apart. Omer Abdurrahman is a runner. We've seen him travel the state in several marathons. Well, now he's reunited with his wife and daughter after the war in his home country of Sudan delayed their arrival to Raleigh. And during this time, Omer traveled back and forth to his country. He documented his visits with his family. He even got the help from Congresswoman Deborah Ross and eventually got word his family's visas were granted and the family would be together again.
How excited are you?
I'm super beyond excited. I didn't have to be thinking anymore. I'm just straight focusing, work and, any other stuff. But so big worries is over now.
An estimated 11 million people have been forced to leave their homes because of this conflict. Omer says that he and his family celebrated their first Thanksgiving here in the United States with their friends.
We have a warning about potential scams you may face this holiday season. The Federal Trade Commission reported imposter scams like fake charities resulted in nearly $2.7 billion in losses last year. Before donating online, make sure you can verify the charity is real. Know that you don't need to give over the phone, and anyone who pressures you may not be someone you should give money to. Remember, it's okay to slow down, ask questions, and do your own research. Let's take a look at the first day of trading for December. Investors looking to add to last month's gains. The Dow Jones Industrial Average up 113 points. S&P 500 in the green, advancing about 20 points, and NASDAQ also up triple digits, up 200 points at this hour.
An American Israeli thought to be held hostage in Gaza is actually dead. In just minutes, what we know about Omer Nutra and what his death means for relations with the United States.
Plus, dozens of people were killed in a stampede in Guinea. We're showing you the moments the crowd was chaotic.
Plus, a month after Election Day, and the Wake County Board of Elections is set to make a decision that could shake up the state Supreme Court. A live report on what's happening today. That's just moments away.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
An American Israeli citizen previously believed to be held hostage in Gaza was actually killed. That happened during the Hamas-led attack on October 7, 2023. 21-year-old Omer Nutra was born and raised in the United States, but chose to go to Israel and enlist in their military. Here's NBC's Matt Bradley.
This morning, breaking news of the death of an American who was thought to be a hostage in Gaza. Israel's military announcing that Omer Nutra, an American-Israeli soldier, was actually killed in the October 7th attacks. His family had thought he survived as a hostage.
What keeps you strong? What gives you hope?
The thought that he's alive and that he's waiting for us to rescue him. That's what keeps me hope.
Now the IDF says Nutra's body is being held in Gaza. The news comes after Hamas released this propaganda video showing another Israeli-American hostage.
My name is Eden Alexander.
Eden Alexander begging incoming President Donald Trump to negotiate for our freedom. Eden's mother now ramping up the pressure for a ceasefire with Hamas that would free her son and other hostages, speaking Saturday with Israel's prime minister.
So I ask him, please, Benjamin Netanyahu, be strong for the country, be strong for Israel and release them.
I'm the father of Eden Alexander.
Eden's family also rallying yesterday in Central Park. It comes as the Biden White House makes a new push to release the hostages in the waning days of the administration. Despite pessimism, it will succeed.
Our hope is that we can generate a ceasefire and hostage deal, but we're not there yet.
While in Gaza, there's fresh outrage from relief workers after the World Central Kitchen said Saturday 3 of its local staff members had been killed in an Israeli airstrike. Israel said one of the 3 had participated in Hamas's October 7th attacks. The U.S.-based charity said it has no knowledge that any of its members are affiliated with Hamas. This is the second time Israel has killed WCK workers, again causing the group to pause its operations feeding people in Gaza.
That was Matt Bradley reporting. Syrian army airstrikes killed at least 13 civilians today in Idlib. That includes women. Nearly 450 people have died in 5 days of fighting, according to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights. The White Helmets volunteer rescue group in Syria rescued a woman from beneath the rubble of one building, and search and rescue efforts are still undergoing.
A stampede killed dozens of soccer fans during a match at a stadium in southern Guinea. A sports journalist who was at the game posted a video online, and it shows people scrambling over walls to escape. The stampede reportedly began after a disputed referee call. Fans started throwing stones, which was met by police using tear gas, triggering chaos. The government promises a full investigation. Michaela Schifrin's pursuit of her 100th World Cup race victory is on hold after this dramatic crash on the slopes. So everything looked to be going well Saturday before the 29-year-old skier slipped and then went crashing into the security fence by the side of the slope. Schifrin suffered a puncture wound on the right side of her abdomen and severe muscle trauma, but no bone or organ damage. The U.S. ski team says there is no timetable for her return to racing.
Oof, hopefully she heals from that. We're getting our first glimpse of this year's holiday decorations at the White House. This year's theme is a season of peace and light. The decor includes 83 Christmas trees, more than 28,000 ornaments, and 165,000 lights. More than 300 volunteers and staff members spent the weekend putting up decorations for the final time during the Biden administration. And it's almost time for the 66th annual WRAL tower lighting, and you are invited. We are lighting all 3 of our towers in Raleigh, in Durham, and in Rocky Mount. The in-person live event will be packed with your favorite people from WRAL. And of course, some amazing live performances you do not want to miss. So come on down and join us at the WRAL studios on Western Boulevard, or tune in Wednesday at 7 p.m. right here on WRAL.
It is always a fun event, and some years it's been really warm, and others it's been on the chilly side. And this year we're going to have that festive feel for the tower lighting.
Definitely. It's going to be a little chilly for that. It'll be dry, but it will definitely be one of those nights you want to wear your coat. And Raleigh for the tower lighting at 7 will be at around 40 degrees, in Durham 37, and in Rocky Mount 40. But notice how there's a little bit of a breeze at about 10 miles per hour, so it will feel more like low to mid 30s when we light the towers across the area. It's always a fun time. If you want to come out, if you have some time, go ahead and come out. And it's just a fun thing to watch. Nice and festive activity this time of year. A live look at Pinehurst. This is a live look at the Resort and Country Club. A beautiful blue sky, but some clouds are going to arrive overnight tonight. And this is one of the locations that could see a few flurries overnight tonight. Most of you are going to be sleeping, but it's our southwestern counties that have the best chance for some flurries. I'll show you that with Futurecast in just a moment. It's 43 right now in Raleigh, still 38 in South Hill, 42 in Southern Pines. We do have a little bit of a breeze, so this is what it feels like. It feels like 30 in Roxborough, feels like 38 in Durham, and it feels like 35 in Rocky Mount. So it is definitely cold out there, and it stays cold. We're at 43 in Raleigh. I don't think we're going to move much. That's probably going to be close to the high temperature today, 46 for the high temperature in Fayetteville. This evening, if you plan to hang up some outdoor lights, or maybe you're headed to Sanford, they have their parade this evening. It starts at 7. It's going to be cold for that. Definitely bundle up. We'll be down to about 34 at 7 p.m., down to freezing at 8 p.m., and then in the upper 20s by 10 p.m. So it is going to be cold this evening and cold overnight tonight for everyone. This is a look at the forecast lows for overnight tonight. Low to mid 20s in the northern counties, pretty much the same thing in our southern counties. Temperatures will be in the 20s for everyone overnight tonight. Make sure you have a warm spot for your pets to be overnight tonight. And if you have exposed pipes, you want to protect those as well, and bring in any plants that you can that are sensitive. We'll have these cold temperatures for the next several days, lows in the 20s tonight and tomorrow night. A little bit of a milder start Thursday morning, but still cold, 38. And then we're back into the 20s for lows Friday and Saturday. So this is some Arctic air that's in place. It's just going to hang out here for quite a while. Satellite and radar, it is quiet here right now, but this is the disturbance that's going to continue diving down to the south and east, and it could bring a few flurries to some of you overnight tonight. This is going to be after midnight tonight. The clouds will increase late this evening and tonight. This is shortly after midnight. Notice the blue contours. That's the snow and the flurries approaching our western counties. By around 3:30 in the morning, it's in our southern and southwestern communities. Just a few flurries. It's very dry at the surface, though, so it's going to be hard for anything to stick. I don't think that will happen. We'll just see a few flurries flying around overnight tonight into very early tomorrow morning. But most of you won't see anything. If you do, if you happen to, send us your photo. Go to WRAL.com, search Weather Watchers. We'd love to show any flurry pictures that we get. Very cold for the next couple of days. It's a little bit milder Wednesday and Thursday, but another front on the way, and that brings temperatures back down, very cold by the end of the week and into the weekend. Another chance for flurries over the weekend, and I'll have more on that coming up.
Amy, thanks. Well, this year was the first time the state required North Carolinians to present a photo ID to vote in the presidential election. Coming up on WRAL News at 4, PolitiFact checks if the requirement played a role in deciding the presidential race.
And at 5 o'clock, a bill aimed at helping Western North Carolina sparks debate over environmental and energy policies. Ahead, how the Helene relief bill could reshape North Carolina's approach to climate action. Southwest Airlines is implementing another change. Why the discount flyer is revising its cabin service policy. Plus this story.
People definitely laid back in their PJs and did a bunch of shopping on Black Friday.
A look at how much Americans spent over the holiday weekend and the record amount they're predicted to spend today on Cyber Monday. A COVID-era pause on federal student loan repayments expired this fall after a year extension by the Biden administration. Failure to resume timely payments could land borrowers in default and possibly have payments automatically deducted from paychecks. Loan experts note that you usually have up to a year, though, before those consequences fully kick in. They suggest applying for deferment, which may be granted for several reasons, including unemployment and financial hardship. You can also request an income-driven repayment plan. Half of Americans don't have the money to pay their monthly bills, and if they do, they don't have money left over for savings. That's according to a recent study by the Urban Institute. The true cost of economic security line factors costs and available resources. It found that, on average, many families are making ends meet, but not able to thrive.
Well, starting next month, Costco plans to stop selling books at most of its U.S. stores. The company said it will remove the store's book section from the majority of its 600-plus stores in the country, again, starting next month. The company says that stocking books on tables involves a lot of labor, as is stocking by hand. I mean, it's a lot of work for them. The books will only return from September to December and various other times of the year. Southwest Airlines is making a major change to help reduce back injury risks for crew and passengers. The NTSB says a third of all airline injuries from 2009 to 2018 were turbulence related. Starting next week, flight attendants will end cabin service earlier in flights. That means attendants will start cabin preparations at 18,000 feet instead of 10,000 feet. So that means an earlier time for passengers to fasten their seatbelts and return to that upright position.
People appear to be spending big this holiday season so far. Adobe Analytics predicts that today, Cyber Monday, will be the year's biggest online shopping day. Experts expect shoppers to spend a record $13 billion. That's 6% more than last year. Overall, the National Retail Federation estimates Americans will spend about $900 per person on gifts, food, decorations, and other items during the holidays. And that beats a high mark set in 2019.
The floats, the marching bands, the colorful costumes. No, I'm not talking about the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Behold, Bolo. This traditional celebration in Mexico City in Mexico called Bolo Fest welcomes the Christmas season. Bolo, the polar bear, is accompanied by giant balloons, musicians, dancing trees, and candy canes. Attendees say the annual parade reminds them of their childhood.
Just 700 votes separate the two candidates in the race for state Supreme Court justice. Now, one candidate is challenging tens of thousands of ballots. Who will make the ultimate decision?
Plus, a shortage of baby formula is prompting some parents and caregivers to take matters into their own hands. Why experts say do-it-yourself methods can be dangerous to your child's health. Plus, just in case you forgot them, your NC Education lottery numbers.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
A second recount is underway in Wilson County because of technical issues. It's one of the last of the state's 100 counties finishing up recount efforts. WRAL's Destiny Patterson is live at the Wilson County Board of Elections site. Destiny, election officials plan to spend most of the day there.
Chris, they're using these two machines here to electronically count your votes. They're hoping to be done by 5 o'clock today. They were supposed to or expected to have these counts done by Thanksgiving, but due to technical issues, they had to do it for a second time here in Wilson County.
The thumb drives that printer let use on the recount, they combine the data, which it should have separate reports.
So the recount could yield big results in some major races. Statewide, people are watching the state Supreme Court race. Democrat Allison Riggs led the race against her Republican opponent, Jefferson Griffin. And after they finish their count here today, state election officials, they could formally announce a winner, but the candidates will have the option to take that race to court. Destiny Patterson, WRAL News, live in Wilson County.
Destiny, thanks. Starting today, parents of students in Durham Public Schools will have to get their children to and from school themselves 1 day a week. WRAL's Laura Levine explains the school system is trying out a rotating bus schedule because of a shortage of bus drivers.
For the next 3 weeks, you'll likely see more buses parked in bus lots like this one here behind me in North Durham. Today alone, families will have to provide their own transportation for more than 20 routes for those students. Now, the district has divided the rotational routes into 5 groups, A through E, to help address a bus driver shortage. Families will be responsible for transporting their students to and from school 1 day each week, with bus service provided 4 days per week. Superintendent Anthony Lewis says this approach will help in managing the shortage efficiently, ensuring current drivers can cover more routes equitably.
It had to average maybe 12 to 15 stops where there were no students, and that was just that one route. And so when we think about that, and bus drivers still have to stop at that route because we never know.
And so this schedule is set for the next 3 weeks. However, Superintendent Lewis did tell WRAL that it could extend into the new year. We'll keep you updated and monitor the situation on how things are going. The goal is to provide a permanent solution by 2025. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Durham.
A Garner woman charged with murdering her boyfriend is due in court in less than an hour. Takia Johnson is accused of killing Stefan Winston Jr. It happened at an apartment complex on Eisner Lane last Tuesday. Neighbors told police they heard shouting and then 2 gunshots. Winston's body was found in the breezeway in that area. Investigators say Johnson told them she was hit, but they did not find evidence to support that. One man is hurt after a shooting at the downtown Go Raleigh bus station yesterday night. Raleigh police say that man, he was shot in the leg and was taken to the hospital. That area is no stranger to crime scene tape and police lights. There were 286 crimes reported near the bus station in the first 7 months of this year. In August, police said violent crime downtown decreased 22% in the first half of the year compared to last year.
A dangerous trend is making the rounds again on social media. Some parents and caregivers making their own baby formula or stretching commercial formula because of recent recalls and shortages. Connor Hansen explains why that's dangerous for babies.
Over the last few years, parents have experienced an uptick in baby formula shortages and recalls, prompting some to turn to, quote, formula hacking.
Formula hacking is essentially any time that you are creating formula that's different from the packaged recommendations, or if you are doing something like making your own.
Contributing to the trend, the severe formula shortage in the U.S. in 2022 due to supply chain disruptions. That same year, Abbott recalled multiple products after 2 babies died from potential bacterial contamination. And earlier this year, other companies took a precautionary step and pulled more from the shelves. Now, researchers at Nationwide Children's Hospital are warning parents about the dangers of making at-home baby formula after they conducted a study looking at DIY formula recipes on Pinterest. Lead author of the study, Rebecca McAdams.
Even though we looked at and found 63 pins on Pinterest, that the engagement in these pins was rather high, and it reached almost 1 million people. And so the information is getting out there.
Researchers found more than half the pins used ingredients the CDC and the American Academy of Pediatrics deem potentially harmful.
The raw or unpasteurized milk can contain bacteria such as E. coli, Listeria, or Salmonella that can be really, that can cause the infant to become sick. The other issue is that if a parent is making the formula at home, they might be making it incorrectly.
Well, Connor Hansen reporting, physicians recommend using caution with any health or safety information found online. Ask your doctor.
Libraries these days are so much more than a space for books. We're going to talk about how they've evolved into lifelines for public health awareness.
And an update on Elton John and his health battles. What destroyed his eyesight? Download the latest version of the WRAL News app featuring a streamlined look and easier navigation. Breaking news right at your fingertips.
Look at that. Perfect timing. Plane taking off there at RDU as you're watching WRAL News today. Available on Spectrum and the WRAL app on your TV or your streaming device.
Yeah, clear skies there. Sir Elton John reveals that he has fully lost his eyesight. The singer shared the news at the red carpet launch of The Devil Wears Prada, the musical in London. The 77-year-old entertainer wrote the music for the show. The music icon's health issues began this past summer in the south of France, where he contracted a severe eye infection that left him blind in one eye. Randy Moss is asking for prayers as he battles an internal health issue. The NFL analyst and former football star made the announcement yesterday. Moss did not reveal his specific diagnosis, but he did urge men to get regular checkups and do their blood work. The Vikings drafted Moss number 21 overall in 1998. In 8 seasons with the Vikings, he had 92 touchdowns. He's been an NFL analyst with ESPN since 2016.
A growing number of libraries are extending their services to provide care for their communities. Many are offering programs to bolster the wellness of their community members. Those include mobile clinics, free mental health workshops, workout classes, food pantries, and so much more. The service can be especially helpful for more rural areas and a lack of these resources.
Libraries for the Heart is our partnership with the American Heart Association. What we've done with them is we've put blood pressure machines in all of our branch locations because they call high blood pressure the silent killer because a lot of people don't know until it's too late.
Advocates say libraries are the perfect centers to help bridge gaps in healthcare, and that's because they can reach diverse groups and don't require insurance.
Utah recorded half a dozen avalanches this weekend alone. How an annual program hopes to keep skiers safe on the slopes.
Plus, pandas, pandas, pandas everywhere, and no one seems to mind. The special event thousands of panda sculptors hope to promote in China.
A Raleigh restaurant is making things right after turning a veteran and his service dog away.
We don't allow dogs in here. I said, but it's a service dog. There's a federal law. He says, it ain't my law.
Another patron who witnessed the ordeal recommended that the veteran call Keeley, and he did. 5 on your side's Keeley Arthur is here now with what happened next.
Yeah, we love when that happens. After we got involved, they made a formal apology, fired the manager, and gave the veteran a gift card. The veteran says his goal in contacting us was to spread awareness about the laws regarding service dogs.
So what are the laws? Is there a federal law?
There's a federal law, and basically it says that businesses cannot deny service because of a service animal. Businesses can ask about your service animal, but they can't formally demand paperwork proving the legitimacy of the service animal.
And it seems like everywhere you go, you see someone with a pet now, right? And how can people distinguish the difference between a pet and a true service animal?
So a true service animal is defined by the ADA as an animal, specifically a dog, that has been trained to work and help a person with a disability, including PTSD, which is what Mr. Stephen Jones has. He's a Navy veteran. In North Carolina, you can voluntarily register your service animal with the state health department, which is something that this veteran had done. And that is basically a license and a tag that you can show and say, look, this dog is legitimate. This isn't Fluffy who wants to go shopping with me. This is a trained animal here to do a job. Again, it's not a required thing to show that, but it is something that in this day and age where we see a lot of different pets showing up in different places, people can do to say, you know what, this dog is real, really here to help me, and you need to honor that.
And certainly benefits us all to know what the laws are in regarding those when we see these situations.
It is, and I think if you look at that dog, you can tell that it is certainly a service dog, and we're going to get into that a little bit more. But tonight, only on WRAL News, we're going to talk to the restaurant, Buffalo Brothers, about the changes that they are making because 5 on Your Side intervened.
I bet he's glad he called Keely. Keely, thank you. Look forward to that story.
You call Keely when you want results. Today marks the start of Avalanche Awareness Week in Utah. According to Utah's Avalanche Center, there were 6 avalanches in the Salt Lake Mountains over the Thanksgiving weekend, and 4 of them were caused by people. While no one was hurt in those cases, experts say it is so important to be ready for the unexpected.
We always recommend that people travel with a beacon, a shovel, and a probe, and a partner. The beginning of the season is a great time of year to double check and make sure that your beacon, all the software is up to date. If you're carrying an airbag, that software is up to date, and do some beacon practice with your partners while we wait for some more snow to fall.
It's also a good idea for skiers and snowboarders to stay on slopes less than 30 degrees to avoid triggering an avalanche.
Cold weather is here. For many, staying warm isn't guaranteed. Help make the holidays warmer and brighter for our neighbors in need during WRAL Coats for the Children. You can help right now. Just scan the QR code on your screen to give any amount. You can help WRAL and the Salvation Army make a positive difference for local children in need. Giving a little can help a lot. Together, we can make the holiday season warmer and happier for local children in need. And for much of the week, we're going to be dealing with Arctic air, so that cold weather is here. Meteorologist Amy Wilmoth tracks how long we're going to see this and what it's going to feel like.
It is going to be cold for quite some time, really all week. There's a couple of blips where we get a little bit milder, but for the most part, it's going to be cold, especially in the mornings. We'll have several rounds of Arctic air diving down to the south, several mornings below freezing, very few breaks from the cold this week, just a couple of them, and you'll see that on the 7-day forecast. This is a live look at North Hills. A lot of folks out doing some holiday shopping. If you plan to do that today, you need the coat. It is definitely cold. Temperatures are in the low 40s right now, and we have a little bit of a breeze, so it feels more like 30s. So cold all afternoon. We're back down into the 30s by 5 p.m. It will be very cold overnight tonight. We're back in the upper 20s by 10 p.m. Look at these bus stop numbers. Bundle the kids up over the next couple of mornings. Our low temperature tomorrow, 25. Our low temperature on Wednesday, 23, and some of the outlying areas on Wednesday could even get down into the teens. So very, very cold. You want to make sure you have a warm place for your pets to stay. Try to bring them in if you can. It's just going to be so cold outside. Bring any indoor plants or plants that are sensitive if you can. If they're potted, I'd bring those inside before you go to bed tonight. And also, if you have any exposed pipes, you'll want to let those drip slowly overnight tonight because it is going to be very cold with everyone down into the 20s. We have the Arctic air in place, but the storm track is more to the south, so our chances of any accumulating snow very minimal. We might see a few flurries in our southwestern counties overnight tonight, and I'll show you several different models coming up just a moment. This is a live look at Beech Mountain. Just a short time ago, I saw the skiers. This is them making the snow. They do not have snow falling right now, but they have enough snow that they've made and some natural that they're able to ski there. This is a look at one model for the snow potential for overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. It's going to be around 1 a.m. to about 5 or 6 a.m. So this model indicates maybe a few flurries in extreme southwestern parts of our viewing area. Not really excited about the snow potential. This is model number 2. It's definitely not excited at all about any flurries. That keeps it out toward the Piedmont and really closer to the North Carolina mountains. Model number 3, this is the European model. It shows a little bit of blue in our western and southwestern communities overnight tonight, so a few flurries possible. And then this is our in-house model, and it doesn't think we're going to see anything. It does show some snow in the North Carolina mountains. Bottom line, I would say our southwestern counties overnight tonight, you have the best chance at seeing some flurries, but it is not going to amount to anything. This is the European model, the chance of an inch of snow. So we'll take this through the overnight hours. Notice how we have zeros everywhere. There is another system that is going to arrive Saturday night into early Sunday morning. Don't get excited about it, but we are starting to see some trends that maybe we'll see a few flurries Saturday night into Sunday morning. It's about a 1 to 3% chance that we get an inch of snow, but some flurries may be possible Saturday night into Sunday. Tonight, it's mainly our southwestern counties that get some flurries. Very cold the next few days, a little bit milder Wednesday and Thursday, but that's followed by another round of some cold air.
All right, thank you, Amy. You've seen them together in movies such as Life and Boomerang. Well, now, comedic royalty Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence are gearing up for a new partnership. We'll tell you that after the break.
As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we're following today. Within the last 10 minutes, the state Senate voted to override Governor Roy Cooper's veto. The vetoed bill would strip powers from 4 state offices that Democrats won the elections for last month. It passed along party lines in the Republican-led Senate.